Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy Kyleo here bringing you back another video. This is my complete Magicka Necromancer PvP guide. Now I've been playing this class hardcore for about 3 months and I feel like you really don't got to play things for years. I've been playing it really consistently. I've had 3 videos come out now with 1vx, 2vx content. All those will be in the description below. So if you feel like I don't know what I'm talking about or you want to see my gameplay to back it up, that will be in the description. Feel free to watch those after this video or go ahead and check those out and then come back to this video when you see those X clips. We're going to go over a few things in this video. Number 1 is character sheet keys, what to look for in your character sheet. Number 2 are class abilities. This is going to go over which ones you want to use and which ones you want to stay away from. Number 3 is weapons and jewelry. This includes traits and which type of weapons and sets you might want to run. We're going to go over armor setup. This includes which weight and how many of each weight you want to wear. Number 5, we're going to go over CP. This is everything to do with CP, both blue and red tree. The green tree doesn't matter. Number 6 is strengths and weaknesses, also which classes you match up well against and which ones are a struggle for you. Number 7, last but not least, we're going to go over the combo. This combo is super deadly, but most people still don't really know how to use it. Now, I made this video because a lot of people have been asking me how I play Macro, you know, what armor I wear, why I do this, why I do that. This is going to answer all those questions, and it's going to be very in-depth. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the first topic. Alright guys, let's go ahead and hop into the character sheet keys here. Now if you're new to Macro, I highly recommend you do watch this section. I'm going to put all the sections in the description, so if there's something you want to watch in particular, feel free to skip ahead. But if you're new to Macro, as I said, I highly recommend you watch this part. Although the stat sheet is pretty basic, I am going to go over Vampire, Mundus, and Food as well. So stay tuned for that, and without any further ado, we'll go ahead and start into the character sheet. Now, if you look at my max Magicka health and stamina, you'll see that these are all at pretty good numbers. With the build I'm running, I highly recommend you try to stay around the numbers that I'm at right now. I am squishier, as you can see by the resistances at the bottom, so that's why I have more health. I feel like you really only need about 27k health to successfully, go about your business in open world, but you do need to be tankier than what I'm running. I just use the extra health to make up for my lack of resistances, basically. If you look at the mag recovery, health recovery, stamina recovery, those are important as well. The main thing is mag recovery. I highly recommend at least 1500 unbuffed. That's going to be the sweet spot for you to sustain an open world without overusing your Magicka. Especially if you're a vampire, 16 to 1700 is probably best if you're a vampire. Health recovery is going to be bad because you're a vampire and they had that big nerf to health recovery. But it doesn't matter. Macro heals are really, really good. So without any further ado, we can go ahead and hop down just a little bit to the spell damage, spell crit. Those to me don't matter that much. What's really important is the spell penetration. As you can see, I'm sitting over 10k, and I think that's a really good spot to be at. Penetration hits harder nowadays than spell damage because everyone's running Pariah. If this changes in future, patches, go into spell damage, take out a penetration. It's just that simple. Spell resistance, physical resistance. I'm sitting at an okay number. But you might want to run these slightly higher. I think 25k each resistance is going to be a really, really good spot for most people who are just trying out the class and who don't want to be so squishy like I am. Crit resist, you want to be over 2k. If you're not, you probably don't have enough CP, or you're not wearing enough impen, or you're not running the crit resist CP passive. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do around to get 2k. But I highly recommend over 2k. Nightblades will hit you super hard if you don't have that. So we'll go ahead and go into the attributes. I highly recommend 64 points mag. Because of the jewelry traits you have to run, your max Magicka is really going to be low most of the time. And 64 points mag is just going to do you right. As you can see, my health is still really high and my stamina is really good without running any points into it. So that's what I recommend. For Mundus, we're running the Atro. This is the best in slot Mundus for Macro. The penetration one just doesn't make sense. The spell damage one is nice, but it's not worth the sustain hit. So Atro is what you're going to want to go. Bewitched Sugar Skulls is best in slot food. It's not even close. You want to run this. Tri-stat, purple food will work well also, but it's just not the same. You do want to have some health recovery because it does help your heals. Run Bewitched Sugar Skulls. Now, Vampire is a big thing nowadays, especially with everyone loving the Undeath passive and pretty much everybody being a vampire. So is it worth it is the question that most people want to know. To me, it is worth it, but you only want to be stage 1. The reason being is because I use it for Elusive Mist. If you want to use it for the Undeath passive, you need to run a lot more sustain. I would recommend over 2k mag recovery unbuffed if you're going to run stage 3 vampire, because the sustain hit is very hard. And yes, I am a Breton. So with Breton passives, I still felt like Vampire Stage 3 was just too much on my Magicka, and I couldn't sustain it very well. The Undeath passive wasn't worth it because I was running out of Magicka and I was dying anyway. So if you have more Magicka, even if you're a little bit less tanky, it makes more sense that you'll live longer because you can spam more abilities, you can keep your heals up better, and you're not fighting for Magicka or having to hit heavy attacks, which leave you wide open to getting bursted. So that's it for the character sheet, guys. We'll go ahead and hop into the next topic. Alright guys, let's go ahead and hop into the class abilities. Now as you can see, I don't have everything unlocked because there are certain things I use and certain things I don't. Now mind you, this is from an entirely PvP perspective. So although I know some of these skills are great in PvE, this is not what this is about. We'll go ahead and hop into the first ultimate. Now Glacial Colossus is really nice if you're in a group and if you have someone that can kind of snare down enemies. If you don't have that, this is a really shit ultimate, I'm going to be honest with you. It's very easy to get out of it, and it just doesn't do enough for a whole 231 ultimate. Now if this got dropped down to like 170, 160, it'd be well worth it. But I just can't justify using this. It's just not worth it in PvP to me unless, like I said, you have a Mag DK that can kind of hold people in place, or a Warden, you know, something like that. Flame Skull, shit ability. It's a terrible spammable for PvP. You do not want to use this. Stalking Blast Bones. Now this is probably your best ability. This is what finishes people for you. This does a lot of stuff for you. Does more damage the longer it's out, so when Blast Bones goes drunk, it doesn't know what to do. It's actually a good thing for a Magcro because it's going to end up hitting harder. It hits in an AoE as well of 6 meters, and overall just really good skill. You need to have this on your bar. This is a S tier skill right here. Avid Boneyard. Now this is where all of your burst comes from. Now this is because there's this Grave Robber synergy down here. As you can see, my tooltip is 13k, completely unbuffed, so ignore that. I hit people for 12k plus Grave Robbers. Now with this will go in when we talk about the combo. Now this does okay damage over 10 seconds, but that's not what you care about. It's all about the synergy. You want to set this up with Blast Bones and your ultimate Dawnbreaker, so that's just that. This Arcanist is okay, but there's just not room for it on the bar. I really don't recommend it, especially because it's not targetable, so it's not going to take any damage for you. And the damage it does just isn't worth it. Shocking Siphon is not worth it. You don't want to use corpses stupidly, I guess. And Siphon is just a dumb way of using corpses. You really just don't want to use the skill. Unlock all passives, all of these are good. Now Bone Tyrant. Ravenous Goliath is an amazing ultimate for defensive. You're going to want to put it on your back bar. Don't ever put this on your front bar. It's just not worth it. This is a back bar ultimate. This can get you out of basically anything. As you can see, it increases your health by 30,000 and restores 30,000 health instantly. You could be at 1% and hit this and go right back to like 40k health. Like, it's actually stupid. And then you drain health and stuff while people are close by you. It hits really hard, but you are really slow in it. So that's something to keep in mind. It's not going to really... If you want to run somewhere with it, it's not going to get you very far. Scythe, I wish this skill was good. I really do. Because it's a nice AoE spammable. Or would be, should I say, if you could actually use it. But if you're not running like stupid high health, it's just not worth it. Summoner's Armor, I chose this one over the one that pulls in. Because sometimes the one that pulls in gets you fucked over. This one's really nice because it helps your sustain. Spirit Mender and Blast Bones cost less, which is always nice. This is a really good skill as well. This gives you a lot of ultimate back. If you can fit this on your bar, I would recommend running this, but I can't, so I don't run it. Agony Totem, this is nice but unreliable. It's like basically puts up a totem that does a fear, and you can use the other one too, so that the remote totem, so you can actually place it wherever. You don't have to just place it on you. This one to me is a little better just because it has the synergy and all that good stuff, but I couldn't find good use of this because it's basically like someone has to be chasing you. And to me, that just wasn't worth it. Gravegrass, this is a pretty good skill. It's just a good snare. Puts minor maim, but once again, there's just no room for it. It doesn't do enough to actually get on my bar, so it is what it is. Get all passives. All these are good. Animate Blast Bones is real gimmicky, so this can catch some people off guard. This can animate up to 3 Blast Bones, and you can throw up your Blast Bones, so in total 4. And this can basically just nuke anybody who isn't expecting it. There do have to be 3 bodies on the ground, which can be kind of hard if you're not running a bunch of the pets and shit. But This is real gimmicky. This can help get your teammates up. This is kind of nice, but at 334 ultimate, to me, it's not worth it. Now, Resistant Flesh, this is the best PvP heal in the game. I don't care what anybody says. This is better than Breath of Life. This is better than Honor of the Dead. This is better than anything Warden's ever had in their life. All around, this is an amazing heal. As you can see, when you heal, you get Minor Defile on you. I promise you it doesn't matter. And then you get physical and spell resistance equal to half what you healed. So I heal people sometimes for 14k. That gives me 7k resistances over 3 seconds. Like, this skill is dumb. And honestly, probably part of the reason why, or not probably, it is part of the reason why crows are just so tanky. Now, this purge is really good. It's really good. I can't fit it on my bar. I just cannot. If you're running something like Chuden and you can give up the armor, this is an amazing skill to replace that. I personally just can't run it. I really like it. But not only that, but it gets you killed sometimes because you're losing health while trying to cleanse stuff. And sometimes it can just be kind of a drag and kind of annoying. Life Amid Death, this is an okay heal, but I wouldn't recommend it. Resistant Flesh is just shitting on this in every way possible. You don't need a body for Resistant Flesh, and it heals more. Spirit Guardian, this is the main reason why crows are so tanky. As you can see, 10% of the damage you take is transferred to the Spirit. This is basically giving you Swift, the set, in an ability. So really, really nice. And it gives you, based on the passives, it gives you Sam and Mag Recovery. All in all, beautiful skill. Now, Mortal Coil is really nice. This is the selfish version. This is the one that gives you stand back. Since I do run Sword and Board and I use up a lot of stand by blocking, I highly recommend you run this one. If you're used to running in groups, the other one is better because it basically gives an AoE heal and helps, heal your teammates. Always nice. Get all your passives here. Macro just has amazing passives. Get all of them. That's it, though, guys, for the class abilities. We'll go ahead and hop into the next topic. Alright, people. So next we're going to get into weapons and jewelry. This includes traits, what type of weapons are best, and even some sets that I really like. I highly recommend you do not skip over this section if you are unfamiliar with the whole Harmony build macro. If you don't understand what people mean by Harmony, this is what you're going to want to watch right here. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the main hand, what you want. You want either 2H or Lightning Staff here. The reason why you want Lightning Staff, and I can go to those passives right now, is as you can see here, when you equip a Lightning Staff, you increase your damage done by area of effect abilities by 8%. This is why you run Lightning Staff. It gives you basically 8% more damage on your Blast Bones, on your Grave Robber, on your Dawnbreaker, everything. You want to run Lightning Staff. Do not run Inferno, and if you run 2H, run them all. Unless you're running a really high penetration build, then run a Greatsword. But a Maul or a Lightning Staff is going to do you best. I like the Lightning Staff because it's easier to get Magicka back, especially if you're running Sword and Board on the back bar. If you are going to run 2H, I highly recommend running Resto back bar. Which leads me into the back bar. I run Sword and Shield. This is best in slot. It's just not even close. This is what you want to run if you want to be tanky as possible. And all in all, Resto is nice. It gives you good heals and nice sustain with the heavy attacks. But Sword and Board is just top tier, man. So I highly recommend you run Sword and Board back here. But really, you only want to be running this or Resto. Ice Staff next patch might be pretty legit with the whole Major Maim thing with the reach. That has yet to be tested by me or seen. So try it out, experiment a little bit, have fun with it. But Sword and Board is going to be best in slot regardless. Now when it comes to jewelry traits, this is what they mean by Harmony. Now I am running one here, but I'll just throw this on just for whatever. You want to run 3 Harmony usually. I was just running the Malakassus to test out some stuff. I didn't want to spend the transmutes for it. But you want to run 3 Harmony. This is because the Grave Robber synergy. Now, this gives the Grave Robber synergy 60% more damage. Not only that, but it's really nice for your sustain because when you hit your own synergy, you get resources back. You get 60% more resources back when you hit this. Now, as you can see, I'm running 3 Mag Recovery Glyphs and the Atro, and I was still only sitting at 1800 Mag Recovery, so that's why the spell damage is low. This is kind of how I recommend you run it because sustain is way more important than damage in a sense. Because if you can't sustain, you're going to die. At least if you don't have enough damage, you can survive enough to, maybe pull off the X. Or if you're in a group, you can let other people run more damage or whatever the case may be. But, like I said, Harmony is so important for a macro. And I can't speak enough about it. If you choose not to play with Harmony, you're just fucking handicapping yourself. I highly recommend you play this way because this is the best way to play macro. That's all I got though, guys, for weapons and jewelry traits. Let's go ahead and hop into the next topic. Alright guys, this is probably going to be the shortest of the topics. Now this is just armor setups. Now what I mean by that is which weights you want to run. So right now in the Blackwood patch, I'm running 3 heavy, 3 light, 1 medium. This is for the Undaunted passive, so that way you get that 5-1-1, or I guess 3-3-1. You run at least one of each armor weight. But next patch, I think 3 medium, 3 light, 1 heavy is going to be best in slot. So I'll switch to that when I'm able. The only bad thing about that is that it really makes crafted sets kind of your only thing of running. And I'm not a huge fan of that. 3-3-1 will still be good next patch. But 3 medium, 3 light, 1 heavy is going to be probably better in terms of damage. 3 heavy, 3 light, 1 medium will also still be very good. It'll also allow you to run more sets and more builds if you run it that way. So that's it for that though, guys. If you look right now, currently in the Blackwood patch, you want to run light right now because it gives you spell crit, gives you spell penetration. All this is good stuff you want. Next patch, this will actually give spell damage as well. So that's why medium armor is going to be, top tier. And then heavy armor just for tankiness and, some health, recovery, healing, all that good stuff. That's all I got though, guys, for the armor setups. Let's go ahead and hop into the CP. Alright people, let's go ahead and hop into the CP. As you see, I have some CP I haven't spent yet. We're going to go over the blue and red tree. I'm not going to go over the little passives because that'd just be a lot of over explaining. So I'm going to go over my slottables and let you guys know which ones are good, which ones I run, and I guess which ones you should avoid. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and look at the ones I do run. So I run Master at Arms. This is because the direct damage is nice. That's just it. Biting Aura, this is absolutely necessary. You want to run this on any build that you run. This is going to increase area of effect attacks by 10%. Really nice. Now here's where I get defensive because my resistances are really low, as you guys saw, but this helps a lot with tankiness. Duelist rebuff, just like Biting Aura, this is not one you want to take off. Magsorks will eat you alive if you do not have this. Unassailable. This is really nice. It just protects me from Dawnbreaker. Since I am a vamp, I do get hit harder by Dawnbreakers and stuff like that. So I really like this. Plus, a lot of people are running heavy AoE. And then other macros, this will help you against them as well. So the Max Magicka one is pretty nice. But macro just doesn't need to stack Max Mag like that. But it's still viable. This one's nice. It gives you more spell damage and stuff. But once again, it's just too many points for not enough spell damage. If this was like 250 to 300 spell damage, it definitely would be worth it. But it's just not. This is really nice if you're going to go Khajiit or run Mechanical Acuity. This just increases your crit damage. This one I really don't recommend even if you are running Mechanical because you're just not fast enough really to be flanking people. But this one, Fighting Finesse, is really good. Highly recommend this one only if you're running Mechanical Acuity though. Deadly Aim. This one's nice, but it does less than Master at Arms, so I've been told. So I'm just going to take people's word for it. And Thaumaturge, you just don't have enough dots. So to me, it's not worth it. Let's go ahead and hop into the red tree. So this is what I run. I actually run this a little different, and that's just for what I found to work best. Juggernaut, this is nice. Damage reduction, highly recommend running this. Don't take it off. Peace of Mind, now this is what I run that's kind of different. Now, while you're under crowd control, you get 200 health and mag recovery. This is to really help with my sustain, and this is a really slept on CP, I feel like. A lot of people like to run Survival Instincts, but I've tested this. This shit don't work. It just really doesn't. I've took all the points out of here except for 10. I've tested it in duels. I've tested it in open world. This shit does not work. I don't know if I missed something. I've tried class abilities, weapon abilities, heals. This shit don't work. So if you know something I don't, then feel free to let me know. But as far as I'm concerned, it does not. Rejuvenation. This is for health, mag, and stam recovery. Run this. This is non-negotiable. Ironclad, I run this just to get some more armor because my resistances are really low without it. You could always run, you can always run the max health one right here, but my health is already really high, so I didn't need to run that. Another viable option is some stuff over here, like some block stuff. If you run, where is that? So this, increased amount of damage you can block while under crowd control. This is nice, but I don't really play tanky. I play fast macro, so it just doesn't make a lot of sense for me to run that. You don't run shields, so you don't need this. This can kind of be good against Magsorks, but to run a whole CP for one class is not worth it. This is nice, but with health recovery being nerfed and most macros being vampires, it's just not worth it. This is nice for sustain, but you're not killing enough people. This is like PvE, like solo arena type shit that you might want to run. That's all I got though, guys, for the CP. Let's go ahead and hop to the next topic. So the next thing we're going to go over is the strengths and weaknesses and your bad matchups and your good matchups versus certain classes. So the strengths of Macro are insane bursts, amazing heals and tankiness, and to be honest, it can actually be pretty good for group utility. I mean, amazing really for group utility. Those are its top 3 for sure strengths. It's just undeniable. It does have some weaknesses though. The mobility is bad. I mean, it's the slowest class in the game. That's just undeniable. And honestly, the damage is a little lacking if someone's tanky. Shuffle is your worst nightmare because Shuffle is getting 25% damage mitigation against your Grave Robber, your DB, your Blast Bones. Shuffle is a nightmare to deal with, which a lot of Stam classes do run that. So the weaknesses really are those 3, which can be pretty significant weaknesses. That's why I don't feel like Macro's busted. I definitely think it's a really, really good class, but I just don't think it's broken like most people just run to the conclusion to because they see Macros that can't die, but they can't kill you either because they don't do any damage. Or they see Stam Crows and just assume Macros are AIDS too. Like, that's not how it works. Macro takes a lot of time and patience, and to be honest with you, another big weakness that I didn't even mention is that people have to come to you, really, for you to kill them. If they don't come to you and they're running away from you especially, they're practically unkillable. Now some class matchups that you're really going to do well with are Stam Blades and Mag Blades because they have a lot of single target damage and they can't get away from you that easily. So it's really nice. Your Blast Bones protects you from a lot of those incoming projectiles and, you know, from Assassin's Will and all that good stuff. I also think Warden is a really good matchup for Macro. I don't think really any Wardens can deal with a Macro effectively. Obviously, you could die to one. I'm not saying you're a bad Crow if you die to a Warden, but all in all, I do think you have the upper hand versus Wardens. Now, some classes actually that you have weaknesses against are Mag Sorks in particular and Stam Sorks. If they streak a lot, it's pretty much impossible to catch them in your burst. Macro can put on a lot of pressure if you're running cheesy like proc builds or procs that can help do damage for you. But if you're running a straight up build like I do, it's really hard to kill Stam Sorks and Mag Sorks just because like most of them don't play very, offensive. They run a lot and they only, get offensive when they have ultimates and shit. So you have a really small window to burst them and they can burst you if, you get too greedy or whatever the case may be. Now, Mag Sork can be a nightmare because they can stay away from you. They don't even have to come near you to do damage to you. Another class, and it's unfortunate, but both Templars can be problematic. This is because 9 times out of 10 you're running Ellie Drain. They can cleanse that off. They can cleanse off your Degeneration, which puts on some nice pressure. And Templars are usually running medium armor, so that shuffle just makes them tanks. And all in all, Magplars, it's just the same thing. Like, they usually they always run Cleanse, and Cleanse is just problematic anyway. I feel like they're really hard to burst unless they're just full damage builds. But all in all, I wouldn't say these are like you're automatically going to lose if you come up against these classes. The only class that I feel like really is essentially either going to be a standoff or a L is going to be Mag Sork. Just because, like I said, they don't have to come in any of your bursts. They can constantly get away from you. They have amazing mobility while you do not. At least Stam Sorks have to come in to kill you. Usually, unless they're like bow builds or something, but 9 times out of 10, especially if they're just regular Stam Sorks or even proc builds, they do have to come in to kill you, so it does give you some room to actually kill them. But Mag Sorks are literally just a nightmare. So that's all I got for you guys on the strengths and weaknesses, the class v class matchups and things like that. All the other classes are kind of just neutral. Mag DKs, Stam DKs, Stam Crows, other Mag Crows. It's just kind of hit or miss if, you're at the disadvantage or not. Sometimes you will be at the advantage, sometimes you won't. It's really just dependent on the player and what they're running in sets. That's when sets and stuff come into a factor. But other than that, that's all I got for you guys. Let's go ahead and hop into the combo. We finally made it. It's the last topic for this PvP guide. I'm going to go over the combo with you guys. Now, this combo is very predictable. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Macro has been out for a while now, so a lot of people kind of know what to expect. So you have to set it up in random ways. If you want more ideas on how to set up the combo or how to get it off or how to pull it off in actual Xing situations, definitely check out my PvP videos below. They'll show you everything you need to know, both 1vx, both 2vx. Anything you want to see is in those videos PvP-wise. However, I'll go over it very basically in this guide here. So the first thing you're going to want to do is the person is most likely chasing you, or the people, should I say, the Zerg. And you're going to want to run around something like this. The enemies will be here. The first thing you want to do is pop on the LE drain to at least one person. This is so that way your mag sustain stays pretty good. You're going to want to put up degeneration and then make sure your buffs are up as well. This matters. Since I am running clever, I pop a pot on the back bar. I throw up my blast bones, pop this again. I wait for the blast bones to blow up so that way that body is there. Now, not all the time can you do this, but then you want to go ahead and throw up another one. Dawnbreaker, Grave Robber. And as you can see, I just hit a 26k non-crit Grave Robber. Now, get it is PvE, but that would have hit a player for at least 11 to 10k non-crit. So, hits super hard. All in all, really, really nice combo, but it is predictable, so you have to be careful how you use it. Now, the reason why, I'll go ahead and hop into that now, that I had to wait, or that you want to wait, for the blast bones or a body to go down, is because it deals 50% more damage when a body's on the ground. So, for example, if you want to go ahead and do this, you know, wait till your armor goes down, or wait till this, you want to use this as the spot where you want to land your burst. So once this guy goes down, that's your body. You want to put your Grave Robber here. And as you see, it consumes the body, and you hit the synergy. You want everything to blow up here. This is because you want that Grave Robber doing the most damage. Now, if you're getting Zerg the fuck down, obviously that's not always possible. It's just not. You'll see in my PvP videos, I hit my Grave Robber at crazy ass times, and it still does good damage. You are able to do that, but ideally, this is how you want the combo to work. So, that is really all Macro's burst. I'll be honest with you. I don't use my spammable that much, especially when I'm Xing. I will be honest with you. My spammable is really for 1v1s and when I'm maybe chasing someone, which is why I use Force Pulse. You can use Pulsar if you want to have an AoE move, spammable, that can go off after your combo. That way those little stragglers, you can go ahead and catch those guys. Pulsar is a really good skill. I ran it for a while, but when I fight people 1v1, I really can't stand Pulsar. And you have absolutely no way of catching someone that's running from you. So that's what made me switch to Force Pulse. That's it for the combo. I hope you guys did enjoy this Macro PvP guide. I worked very hard on it. It took me many takes and a long time to put this together. I hope you guys do watch my PvP videos. They have a lot of good content in them. And as you can see, even though I haven't been playing Macro for that long, I've gotten very good with it in just a short amount of time. I do plan to keep making Macro content, but I am going to take just a small break from it to work on my other classes. I'm currently playing Stamsork right now. I really want to get into Mag DK because it's so shit, but it's actually going to be pretty good next patch, I think. And all in all, I just love the challenge. I like playing new stuff. So this will be my last Macro video for just a little bit, not too long, but for a little bit and for the, foreseeable future. Like I said, guys, let me know what you guys think. Don't fucking tell me your build in the comments. I don't give a fuck about your build. I don't give a fuck what you run on Macro. If you already know how to play Macro, this video was not for you. This video is for the people who want to learn how to play Macro, who want to know the information and care what I have to say when it comes to Macro. Like I said, I don't give a fuck about your build. I don't give a fuck what you run. I don't give a fuck what you think I should run. I don't care. If you think I don't know how to play Macro, watch my videos. I ain't got nothing else to say. And unless you got better videos, I don't need no advice. I'm good, G. I appreciate any feedback I do get, though, on the video itself. If there are things I didn't cover, please let me know. If there's anything you want me to still talk about or any questions you have that I didn't already answer in this video, comment below and I will answer you. I'm not one of those YouTubers that don't fucking read their comments. I do. Anything else, like I said, watch those videos, watch my build videos, all that good stuff. Check out my channel, sub up if you're new, super sub if you want to support the channel, and that's all I got for you guys. This is Kyleo. Later.